All right, folks, it's a day later, and I am getting back into this basic video series. I left Jerry Quarry and Howard King exactly where we left them. So let's get into round two here. All right, so we had a TKO point each. So the next thing I'm going to do, now that that round's over, King had won the round 10-6, and every increment of 6 punch points equals 1 TKO point. So therefore, 10-6 means that both fighters inflicted a TKO point against the other guy, and that counts toward endurance costs. They were both in pressure mode, which costs 3, and they both had a TKO point apiece, so their cost for both fighters between rounds, that deduction is 4 points off. So from 21 to 17 for Quarry, and 15 to 11. So 17 and 11 is the endurance now for the respective fighters going into round 2. Now, the next thing we do is we look at consider the modes. So Quarry lost the round by 4 points. So he definitely has to check his, make a roll to check his mode, okay, using these mode ranges. And King won the round, but he was in pressure mode. So, and so was Quarry for that matter. So regardless of who won or lost the round, when pressure is the mode, or elusive also, which which you will not see in this fight, neither fighter has elusive in their toolkit. So, pressure mode is one of the 2 modes that must be maintained in order to keep it going into the next round. So I'm going to roll red and blue respectively for the red and blue corner, Quarry and King, and see what their new modes are going to be for round 2. I roll a 6 for Quarry. That's higher than 4, less than 11, so he is inside. 17 for King maintains pressure. So, kind of makes sense, right? King had a surprisingly good opening round, and wants to keep that going. So that's it between rounds. From there, now we have inside versus pressure. So looking up here on the action column, inside versus pressure is still in the brawl column. So when you go to open action or when you go to high action, we'll still be using that brawl column, which tends to pump up the scoring a little bit. You'll end up with more TKO points. You'll end up with more punch points in those columns. Okay. So, pretty high action fight. Let's see how this goes in round 2. And King picks up where he left off by gaining sole control. He rolls a 17, so it's in his range of 11 to 20. Quarry rolls a 2, so he fell short of his threshold of 9. And then the defense die is 6, so we know that it's going to be column A on the pressure card. 13 is the result. It's a K result, but it's a K10, and Howard King's power is only 2. Therefore, it is a 2-point A punch. His A punch is a combination. So, again, more of the same. Why not, right? If you're Howard King, you're scoring with these combinations, keep them coming. Howard King again in sole control, 54, and again column A. I hope you can see that. It's 19 for King. It's only 3 for Quarry, so I'm not rolling well for Jerry Quarry so far. And then the defense is 3. He needed a 2 or less in order to shift it to column D, but he cannot, so it's 54 and a double jab for 2 points from Howard King, and he is up 4-0 early in round 2. And here is something more interesting. Okay, now this is something we needed to talk about. I don't think we had this situation. So it's 15 and 13. Now, since so it's not high action, right? Because it takes 2 14s or more. So this is very close to being high action, but it's not. So we look at King, and he is over by 4. And we look at Quarry, and he's over by 4. Okay, what do you do now? They're tied. In that case, neither fighter is able to establish firm control. They sort of cancel each other out. So this becomes an open action result. Okay. And then over here I rolled a 0-1. That's not good. In the brawl column, that's going to be a clash of heads. So you got 2 guys here, slugging it out, toe to toe. And not surprisingly, you end up with a clash of heads. So this is a fairly dangerous one. There's a couple headbutt results on this chart, but this is the more serious one. So we will check the higher cut rating first. That is going to be King. And let me see, he's the blue fighter. His cut rating is 6. And therefore he needs a 9 through 20 to be safe. He comes up with a 17. So now we're going to check Jerry Quarry. His cut rating of 4. And he needs an 11 or better. He rolls a 9. Now, so Quarry, adding to his bad luck so far in this fight, now he's going to have a cut. And not only is he going to have a cut, but there's more risk involved because this is not a normal cut check. This is a hazard cut check. As often happens when you have a nasty clash of heads, the cuts, the gashes that result from it can be quite severe. So let's see what happens. If we roll low, maybe it'll just be some minor thing. 82 is not low. I'm not sure if you can see that on camera or not. I've got a fairly tight shot here for showing you these basic procedures. Okay, 82, hazard column, major cut over the right eye. That is a 2-point cut, so I'm going to mark off 2 points here against his right eye. His defense of 2 now drops to 1, and his CTN, his control threshold, currently at 9, is now going to jump up to, or go up a step to 10. All right. So, yeah, I'll put HB, and then I'm going to put a gash over the right eye, not a gash, major cut over the right eye for Quarry. So he's getting punched, and now he's had this unfortunate result coming from a clash of heads, and he's lost the first round. So Quarry was a tough guy, though. Can he rally from all this adversity? Let's find out. All right, we're going open action. 17, brawl column, blue fighter foul check. He is average, and average by 17 is a flagrant foul. Okay, we'll talk about the fouls more later on. I like to leave the fouls kind of up to your imagination. It's really sort of an option. If you're playing some big fight and you don't want fouls to kind of wreck your result, then you have the option of not using them at all. And anywho, so that is a 2-point foul. So I'm going to put 2 foul points here. So in this case, the referee gives King a warning. It was a legitimate foul, and that will also count toward TKO points in the end, as you'll see. Boy, really rough time, right? Quarry's been cut, now he's been fouled, he's been punched. with a combination, the double jab, he's having a hard round here, but now Quarry certainly has to be mad at everything, maybe even with himself. He rolls a 20 on control, clearly taking charge with a 42 on the inside card, and that is going to be a combination to the body and the head, but the defense roll, King's defense is only 1, and he rolls a 1, so he shifts that over to a 1-point combo. All right, now we're going to push to high action. It's a 15 and a 17 result on control, so both over 14. 76 on the brawl column is going to get us will to win. We've seen that earlier, and we know that Quarry, with a very large willpower advantage, is going to prevail here, and so he just bores in inside mode, right? And let's go with a combination for 2 points. Howard King does get in 1 point in reply during that exchange, but Quarry gets the better of that. Now, 3 segments remaining in round 2, and 8 and 4 are the control results. So it's open action 34. That will give us a clean clinch. Two 17s on control. That's going to be high action 44. Rally, the fighter trailing on punch points. That is definitely Quarry. Gets King trapped in the corner with a combination 2-1. So Quarry's starting to pick up the pace here in the latter half of round 2. 1 segment remaining. It's a close round now. And 14 and 17, we're going to go to high action again. Is that the 3rd time? Yeah, that's the 3rd time in just the latter half of this round. So 72, high action, brawl column. Will to win comes up again. So Quarry just imposing his will here down the stretch. And I think he's going to be just short. So King with 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we also count those 2 foul points, effectively making it 9. So what that means is that for the judges' scoring, King scored 7 punch points. Okay. However, when reckoning the TKO point total, you include the foul. Okay. In this case, 9 does not get you an extra increment of 6, but it can. And that happens on occasion. It's pretty cool when it does. But in this case, that's 1 TKO point against. So Quarry with his 2nd TKO point. And then he rallied down the stretch here, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points. So he evened up the round, 7-7, and a TKO point against Howard King. So similar to last round, lots of high action, lots of brawling. We had the cut, the foul. Good stuff here in round 2. And I'll go ahead and do the endurance deductions. So that's going to be 2 points for inside, 1 for the TKO. Is 3 points off for Quarry, down to 14. And then King with 11 and a mode cost of 3, plus 1 for the TKO point, is 4 off, and that'll get him down to 7. Okay, so round 2 is even, 7-7, TKO point apiece. The endurance deductions are done, and for round 3, we'll pick it up and keep on going.